Jack Smith's Deposition, Part 3, Gag Orders and Speech or Debate Clause. Welcome to Law and Society. So I'm going through Jack Smith's deposition and picking out portions that I think would be relevant for Americans to know. The whole transcript is about 255 pages, so you can read through it. It's not gargantuan. However, there's a lot of question, answer, and it's easier to sort of condense it and give you excerpts from it. And the reason why I'm doing this is because Americans must never forget what Donald Trump did on January 6, 2021. And whoever opened this investigation into Jack Smith's conduct, allowing Jack Smith to tell us the story 5 years after the insurrection, and importantly, the first year after Donald Trump pardoned the people who were convicted or pled guilty to several charges during the Capitol riots. Remember that this January 6th, a few days from now, is going to be the first time that they are going to be back on the streets and likely will be back in Washington, D.C. So what that is going to do remains to be seen. We need to, however, do our job of remembering what actually happened. So today I'm going to talk to you about gag orders, Jack Smith answering questions about gag orders and the speech or debate clause. Question: you saw gag orders in both the Florida case and the DC case. Is that correct? Jack Smith: we sought an order in the DC case, and we did that because Donald Trump was making statements that were endangering witnesses, intimidating witnesses, endangering members of my staff, endangering court staff. As a result of things he was saying, the judge in the case received vile death threats. They were causing witnesses to be intimidated and endangering people. Court of Appeals also found that in addition to intimidating or chilling witnesses who existed, it would chill witnesses who had not yet come forward because they were afraid that they would be next. So yes, we did file that, and I make no apologies for it. Question: when it comes to members of Congress, though, they are, the speech or debate clause protections, which you totally sidestepped. I mean, the toll records provide enormous valuable information because it shows who a member of Congress, who a senator is taking calls from and who they're calling. And if you map it up against the Senate or the House calendar, you can see, what the inputs are to their legislative decision making, which is at the core of the speech or debate. Mind you, before I go into what Jack Smith says, what the communication was in those calls were not protected by the speech or debate clause, number one. And the speech or debate clause is content-based, not based on merely the fact that it's a communication between members of the legislative branch and their staff. Also, this was a communication with the president about the elections. And that's even more so unconstitutional because the Constitution does not give the president any power over elections. It is only Congress's domain and the states. But the idea is that, and most importantly, is that the toll records, the phone records that were gotten by Jack Smith, that the Republican members of the House and Senate are so riled up about, they did not have any content. They only had the numbers and the duration of the calls. It was call logs. It did not have the content. And so there was debate and conversation about what was it like a previous Rayburn case in which it was a speech or debate clause protection that was violated, and the Supreme Court held, or the court held, that the speech or debate clause applied. But in that case, it was a content-based search, whereas this toll record search was not content-based. Smith says, my office and I personally take the protections of the speech or debate clause seriously. Mind you, this is the same with Republican members of Congress as well. They don't speak in full sentences. So when I speak Smith, he makes more coherent sense than what I read about questions coming from the Republicans. And when you, what you see in these adversarial discussions is that it's very, the questions are very pointed and they're open-ended, which allows Jack Smith to sort of say his piece, but he may also take a misstep. When we start talking about questions coming from the Democratic side, you will see the change and shift in the tone of the questioning. So Smith's office, in regard to the speech or debate clause, says, my office and I personally take the protection of the speech or debate clause seriously. I think they're part of our Constitution. They're an important part of separation of powers. I think our respect for the speech or debate clause is evidenced by the litigation we engaged in this office. We conducted litigation with Congressman Perry and also Vice President Pence, taking that very seriously. And I would just also add that my office, that folks who were really the department experts on speech or debate, and when you sought these subpoenas, we got approval from Public Integrity, who are the sort of keepers on that issue, and they concurred with us getting these subpoenas. We respect the speech or debate clause. I'm aware of no case in the Supreme Court or DC Circuit that says that getting non-content toll records from a third party violates the speech or debate clause, particularly where, and I think an important point here is these records were not sought to use against members of Congress who were targets. The investigation we were conducting was of President Trump and his co-conspirators, who were all obviously not members of Congress, but also private, not even members of the White House. In the Supreme Court or in the DC Circuit, there is no case that says non-content records not secured from a member but secured from a third party are subject to the speech or debate clause. Public Integrity, which was the sort of a keeper of this issue, concurred in our getting these subpoenas. I told my staff that in this situation, if we're going to seek these toll records, we need to consult with Public Integrity. So that is the conversation that happened with the Republican members of the committee and Jack Smith about gag orders and the speech or debate clause. I'll come back and talk more in the fourth section. Mind you, these chapters, these parts, I'm just breaking them up for myself so as to not be too long and convoluted for people to understand. So if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment box. And I've put references down of the transcript and the recording and the image source that has the transcript and information in the description box of this video. So with that said, thank you for listening, and please like, share, and subscribe. I will talk to you soon.